An old foxy. He won't stop. He will hunt you down and slit your throat.
Not all victims are sacrificed by cult members or, well, human cult members, nor is it done with valor or willingness to serve something greater, but sometimes the lives taken away may only serve to feed an otherworldly force or entity. And I know that was a huge mouthful of words, but listen, this FNAF Analog core is kind of crazy, and it's not just randomly chaotic like I initially thought it was, but it definitely tells a story or a plot that's going on with these animatronics. Now, when I first started covering these videos, I didn't really see all the videos on the channel, but eventually I watched near all of them, since they're not really that long. But this is going to circle around the 2 latest videos on the channel. All of the content is by Non-Ezer, I think that's how you say it, someone who creates amazing FNAF 3D animations, so make sure to check them out and show your love and support as always. Now, about why I said sacrifice, quote unquote. The animatronics might look normal at first glance until you kind of see that they're slightly unhinged, actually very unhinged. Not simply hostile, but very determined to end the very life you own. Unlike the actual FNAF games, it's no longer about revenge or mistakes or anger or just blind rage of being a vengeful spirit, but they literally know who you are, and their sole purpose is to hunt you down and do unimaginable things to you to fulfill some sort of greater goal, although we don't know what that is yet. It's not just about stuffing you in a suit for revenge anymore. But to further understand this, we have to analyze the training tape for the animatronics taken within the FNAF 2 location. And as I've said before, we're going to circle around these 2 main videos. And I didn't initially plan on covering the other ones, but as I did watch them, it seemed like they actually provided more clues that would actually help. But here's where we're going to start. The training tape starts out mostly normal. Basically, it tells the Night Guard what to do against each animatronic, and it starts out with the toys, which is kind of to be expected. But there is an underlying tone of dread and hopelessness conveyed by the video, as well as the speaker himself, which we don't know who it is. Almost as if they're trying to discourage them from even trying to survive at all in the first place.
Toy Chica may approach from unexpected angles. She's attracted to movement, so stay still when she's near, and she might pass you by, if you're lucky. If Balloon Boy enters your office, he will disable your flashlight. Keep him at a distance by watching his movements. Remember, he can only harm you if you let him get too close. Toy Foxy is fast and unpredictable. She'll approach from the hallway, but she won't stay long. Use your flashlight to make her back off, but be quick, she doesn't give second chances.
Now I want you to take a close look at how all of their eyes look and their pretty crazy behavior. Usually we expect to have a guaranteed survival with the Freddy mask or the flashlight or some sort of way of escaping, because if we didn't, then we'd stand no chance at all. And we're told that things like this, or staying still or quiet, can work against the toys and help with our survival. But even now we see that they're extremely tactical and more aggressive than they usually are. The chances of survival sound too slim already. Not to mention that they look so unhinged with their eyes changing and dilating. The video also tells us that they know of our presence, like they could smell us, like they're hunters. And by us, I mean the Night Guard again. Don't worry, you're good, I'm good, we're all good. It's like they're truly attacking the Night Guard, like he's just prey, not because he's mistaken for a murderer or an endoskeleton like the games may convey or show. And here's the most disturbing part about this first tape. It's what we should truly fear, the Wizards. In FNAF 2, you usually fend off almost every animatronic in the same way, with a couple of exceptions. They all kind of get fended off by the mask, and then Foxy with the flashlight, and the marionette with the music box. Even though it's a lot of animatronics, it's pretty simple that you can get rid of all of them with the Freddy mask. The Wizards, besides being larger and much creepier and dirtier, weren't very different from the toys in their methods of attacking, but this tape tears down any wall of hope left to grasp.
Like to make her back off, but be quick, she doesn't give second chances. But if the old ones get close, no mask, no flashlight, nothing can save you. Run, if you still can. If you see old Freddy, your best option is to run. There's nothing you can do. He's faster than he seems, and he will rip you apart. If old Bonnie finds you, he will beat you to death. Don't try to hide, he'll tear down every barrier between you and him. As for old Chica, there is no escaping her. She will electrocute you, until there's nothing left but charred remains. And old Foxy, he won't stop. He will hunt you down and slit your throat, so you can't scream, or breathe. You shouldn't have come here, you're not leaving. They know exactly who you are, and where you are. The flashlight, the Freddy mask, it's all useless. This was never meant to save you.
It says that they're all too malicious to escape from. They're too fast. They will beat, tear, electrocute, crush, and shred, instantly reframing this as not just a simple survival situation, but almost like a certain death situation. Almost like you're certain to die and you only have so much time to last. However, being unable to help yourself in these things, quite literally pushing the message, if these things get out, you will be unable to do anything. And that's quite a terrifying thought when you see how these things look, of course. However, it's not entirely new for FNAF to be like this. After all, they always had it out for the Night Guard one way or another. I mean, look how the phone guy died. He kind of died in a... well, they jumped him, you know, we know that. But anyways, the mask in here just won't work apparently. The flashlight won't help either. But why? Why does the training tape pivot to this hopelessness? Well, we might have a clue within this video, and it says he's controlling us, and he's returned. It's obvious who this is pointing to, especially if we look towards the description that describes the same exact thing. William Afton is apparently controlling the animatronics. Now, this is a little ambiguous because this should, if this is all in order, if the videos are all in order, then this would take place after he's already been spring locked. So I'm not entirely sure what it means by controlling, if it's a physical way, spiritual way, I have no idea. And it could just be the Wizards, or it could be the Wizards and the toys, it could be both of them. But the question is how, and for what purpose? There's no real Springtrap in this tape to be seen at all, nor in any of the other videos, I don't think. Could it be that the reason these animatronics show such extra violent behavior with killer instinct and almost mindless violence is due to this control from Afton? After all, if we rewatch the tape from this perspective, as soon as they can quote unquote sense the presence of someone, they immediately go insane. They just go into killer mode. Even Balloon Boy seems like he'd do the job himself if nobody else did, and he's supposedly harmless, but I just don't know the way he's looking at it. I don't know. Moreover, this can be why the Withers are so overpowered, or as it seems to be. The animatronics themselves may no longer be affected by the mask entirely, and whatever control Afton has over them is causing them to be more murderous and much smarter. Almost as if Afton was just doing the job himself, like they're possessed with a different kind of spirit entirely. And this is sort of huge, as this would also include Golden Freddy or the puppet, who are more than likely considered more powerful than the rest. Imagine Afton having control over these two. However, we still haven't seen what they're truly capable of, and we've only been warned on this training tape. And the fact that he still chose to be the Night Guard is baffling to me, but whatever. But so far, we haven't seen the fruits of their malevolence yet. The animatronics are completely messed up and abnormal. It's like they're possessed by literal demons, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they were, but this isn't just a show. They're after someone who is present in the same location with them. Specifically, Jeremy, who took up the night shift. As we see these things lurk and distort, it becomes unclear if they simply just want to kill Jeremy. They're literally waving at the camera. I just don't think that's normal, and I think their physical form is being distorted too. I don't know if that's just camera effects or what. The scene right here probably hit me the hardest though. And that is why we're talking about this. This part makes the intentions very evident. This isn't the normal behavior of the animatronics at all. And if the trading tape wasn't clear enough, this one makes sure that we know that this night guard has no chance of escaping. There's no one attacking after the other. There is no order. There is no chance of survival. Rather, they all march and group up into his office. Even the puppet shows up. Literally everybody's there. They kind of do look like they're being controlled, especially because I believe the animatronics are supposed to have some sort of personality of their own, although I'm not too sure how their personalities are, but that's neither here nor there. It just looks so crazy, and it's weird to describe that for what's supposed to be robots. But here's the prize we get for watching. At first glance, it's not too out of character, but his guts are spilled, and that's just strange for being stuffed in a suit, because usually that's what kills you. Which sort of implies he was already dead to begin with, like he's been mauled and long dead before the suit was even put on. There's just underlying darkness to Jeremy's death, as we're told his remains weren't found. His body wasn't found, and he was taken somewhere unknown. That's the key thing here. After the suit stuffing, a FNAF animatronic wouldn't really care anymore, and the body would probably be found. But taken? The body? Why and where? And we're just not told anything. But we are shown a couple of clues, besides Afton. Now, whatever this entity is, I'm sure this is who they're doing this for. I don't know for sure what it is and what it has to do with Afton. Perhaps Afton made some kind of deal in exchange for power. Perhaps Afton's goal was to learn someone for the night guard job, and the distorted training tape was just all for fun. Because if Afton made it, then he'd already know that there'd be no hope of escape, which would make a lot of sense, honestly. But then again, I feel like he wouldn't be trying to warn the night guard so readily either. So it's questionable. But Afton's job of luring night guards to be killed by the animatronics, it kind of fits. Using the animatronics to sort of just create this death game, all in order to just feed whatever entity this is, or to serve it in some way. Now, if you take a look on the other content on this channel, you'll find these two videos are when the animatronics are already acting crazy. However, with the previous ones, it seems like the animatronics are more normal, like they just want revenge, like they usually do in the games. In fact, that's kind of what we get. Although I won't touch in too deep yet. First, I want to tap into what I believe is the beginning of the infection. This is Gabriel's nightmare. So I want you to consider this a prologue to the training tape, okay? In my opinion, even if it's framed as a nightmare of Gabriel's, I feel like this foreshadows a sudden change in behavior of the animatronics themselves. In this twisted version of reality, the animatronics are withered in an unknown place, along with animatronics from Five Nights at Candy's, which I find pretty cool, honestly. I generally don't know what they have to do with the storyline for this, but it's awesome seeing these characters. There's 3 characters that act abnormal, similar to the training tape video and the Withered's Night video. Chica, Foxy, and the puppet. And I guess if you want to include the rat, then, well, fine. But all 3 of them show signs of hostility or, well, possession, if you will, like they're infected or something. Bonnie is the one who points it out to Gabriel, or otherwise Freddy. The fact that it's a nightmare could actually be more significant too. This could be how his spirit perceives a shift in reality. It's strange as well, since usually the puppet is always in control and much more sensible, but it seems to have changed. We see the text "stop him," presumably Bonnie or Gabriel. Also, yeah, I don't know what Bonnie's name is, but I heard it was Jeremy, but I don't know that for sure, honestly. But then we see the text "you can't," meaning there is likely a force working against the animatronics in which they can't overcome it. And it seems like it got to the most unstable ones, like Foxy and Chica first, and the puppet could have been the first one. As a matter of fact, there's a chance this isn't the original puppet at all, seeing as there's multiple puppets, and how out of character this is for one of the more intelligent animatronics. I genuinely think this could be a different puppet altogether. It's worth noting that the puppet in a way is an orchestrator for the animatronics and how they are, since she gave them life to begin with in the original game. If you swap and get rid of or corrupt the puppet, then you get to the animatronics by default, right? It's kind of an easier way to influence them. Bonnie and Freddy are the more stable ones, or methodical ones, if you will. But whatever this corruption is, whether it's a virus or something more otherworldly, they couldn't hold it off for long. And we see that it's not limited to the withered animatronics either. There is also no longer any dialogue from Freddy after he stuffs Jeremy inside the suit. If you don't understand what I mean, in the Night 5 phone call video, the phone guy or the night guard is stuffed inside the suit, and the spirits of the animatronics have a back and forth talk, with Freddy believing it was justified, thinking it was Afton, his killer, and the night guard was very much deserving of it, along with Bonnie and Chica being a bit more clear-headed and having their doubts, thinking it wasn't really him and he looked different. Regardless, Freddy said that he enjoyed making him suffer, but this time he's quiet. When he's stuffing Jeremy, he has nothing to say at all. He's just has this crazed look, this crazed expression. There's nothing in those eyes but a 1,000-yard stare. It's like the simple mindset for revenge is now gone. We're also given another clue within the description of the latest video, saying that the toys were actually absent for repairs that entire time, which is interesting because the Withereds being broken down wouldn't need repairs because they're withered and they're for scraps, they're not for performance. So it makes sense that they'd be the only ones left. It also says that something turned their focus to the Withereds in the description and Jeremy ignored the warnings. It's possible that the warnings are in reference to the training tape when it talks about the brutality of the withered animatronics. This one mistake costed Jeremy his life. I'd like to make a point though that it says something turned its attention to the Withereds. It almost confirms that something is actually influencing these animatronics, and it was merely using the toys for a time, or it can choose to bounce between different hosts or whatever, like the toys were awake and now the Withereds are awake. But naturally that'd result in the toys acting too strange and becoming inoperable during the day. Thus it influences the Withereds instead, like some kind of traveling virus, like it's someone or something else using them like vessels. Using this framework, it makes sense as to how the toys would wake up and immediately their eyes would change and they become more chaotic. The only question is, what is this thing that is choosing to corrupt these animatronics? Could it be the entity that we saw before? Could it be Afton? Or could it even be this twisted version of the puppet that we see? After all, the puppet is the orchestrator, like I've said before. It could be a chain reaction of all 3 as well, like a hierarchy. The entity sits highest in charge of them. Then there's Afton, and then there's the puppet, and then the animatronics beneath them all. It's possible that the puppet plays the role in being the influencer for these animatronics, based on the behavior shown in Gabriel's nightmare. A couple more additional notes would be Gabriel's nightmare could also merely be footage from the actual animatronic itself. If this hierarchy exists and they're truly being controlled in this way, then it makes sense that they all arrived to the office by 12:45 a.m. And an honorable mention would probably be the Five Nights at Candy's characters, since they were teased as another future video by Nezzer. So it's very possible that they're planning to use Five Nights at Candy's characters, like maybe the rat or something, to be a part of this whole plot. But with such a lack of evidence, I can only look at the rat and think that maybe he's up to something, but other than that, I wouldn't know. But this analog horror transforms the story and boundaries of FNAF and rewrites it into something that looks and feels infectious. Or rather, it's like an infection written into the FNAF timeline itself. Afton, who should have rotted, is holding more power than ever, somehow over the animatronics. Also, side note, I'm unsure as to how these things take place in the timeline, but perhaps since this is almost like a reimagining of FNAF, perhaps FNAF 2 actually takes place post FNAF 1, and the spring locking of Afton pre-FNAF 2 within this timeline. I genuinely enjoyed watching this vision of analog horror in particular, and I really hope that there's more to come, as there isn't many like it at all. I even want to see what the Five Nights at Candy's animatronics have to do with it, as when it comes to fan games, I think they're the most iconic, and honestly they might as well be canon in the FNAF timeline if any fan game characters were to be made canon at all, or to be referenced at the very least. Especially because the Five Nights at Candy's lore is one of a kind in of itself. But hopefully we get to have some of our questions answered and figure out why these animatronics are acting so different, why they are so malicious, what goal they have, and why their behavior is like this. How would this connect to Afton's goals and practices? Why would this connect to some sort of entity? Why would this make the animatronics much more demonic or malicious in the first place? Does it actually connect with the children's spirits and what they want? Are the spirits still there? There's so many questions. But I suppose that we'll find out within due time. I'll go do some research on some other things now. But let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you think about the lore of this analog horror. It's actually quite nice when I do see comments about your guys' personal theories about the things that I talk about or the things that I cover. And when I see multiple perspectives, it kind of changes my own point of view a little bit, and it gets me to think about other things as well. And that serves a bigger purpose more than you might think it does. But regardless, it's been fun, so I will see you on the next corner of the internet. Good night.